Hello. So at 9 p.m. my time, which is in 38 minutes from right now when I'm recording this, my friend, this channel here, here's the link. I'll put it in the description so you can come to the show. My friend's show, which is an open mic, will be here. It's in the comments right now. That's the link to the YouTube, and you can join the panel. It's an open mic discussion, which is, let's see, what's that say? I can't even see it. Okay, let me zoom in on that. He does them on Friday nights. Compatibilism is biblical. Challengers welcome. Okay, so also subscribe to his channel, the Synagogue, there on the bottom left. There's the link to that show in, let's see, it says the timer right there, however many minutes it is, 36 minutes, if you see this. So the compatibilist is the position that what used to be just a difference between what people would call free will, we now have another category called libertarian free will. The non-compatibilist believes in libertarian free will. What does that mean? Libertarian free will means you have the option of doing otherwise. You could refrain from doing an act or not. There's possibilities that are actually possible. In other words, you're the source of your own decisions and you have multiple paths you can take. And you are the ultimate cause. The compatibilist worldview is they can say they have free will as long as they're not being stopped from doing what they desire to do. But it's a way of God determining all things which come to pass. And then we do that which God has determined that we do. So it's compatible with free will that's compatible with determinism. Now, here's the question. Is compatibilism biblical? Depends. And I think this gets cloudy. So here are my comments. If you mean compatibilism is biblical, of course it is in this sense. God determines things to come to pass. Even your free will be darned. Obviously, there's verses that say that God determines things. There's a way you could say God determines things even without having to force you to do anything. He can do what he knows how you'll respond to what he does, and he does it. And Pharaoh does what he wants. I could have predicted what Pharaoh would do by doing what God did. Does that mean he's taken away his free will? No. So is that compatible? Yes. Did God determine for Christ to be crucified by the hands of evil men? And it was God's own hand doing it? That's what it says. Is that compatible then? Yes, because they're guilty. They freely did it. So here's the question. Is compatibilism biblical? Well, if that's compatibilism, then the answer is yes. But if by compatibilism you mean, therefore God determines all things that come to pass, and there isn't a possibility to do otherwise, those verses certainly don't prove that. Why? Because why wouldn't you think that when the Bible gives examples of God determining things, why would that make us believe that God's determining every single thing? Why wouldn't those be the exception? Because it's when God is intervening in a particular way. So then the question becomes, how much is God intervening to make people do what he wants? How do we know he doesn't see what they will do and he makes sure that it happens? Does that entail that all things are that way? So it depends what you mean. Is compatibilism biblical? Well, certainly. God can intervene to make sure things happen in such a way that doesn't. Now, the question is, does that interfere? Does that mean God makes people do everything? No. Some things. So the question is, does that justify the view that compatibilism is true, meaning God determines all things come to pass? I would say no. It seems to me to suggest that, in fact, that compatibilism is a philosophy of how things operate is actually not the case. That's why their examples are not the rule, but the exception. They're particular examples of when God does certain things. In no way does that suggest or say or mean to say, in my mind, that all things come to pass that way. Because God's knowledge isn't causative. But he's certainly determined to have certain outcomes in the world, and he will have them, obviously, and everyone who's a Christian believes that. So, is compatibilism biblical? Yes and no. Thank you. So come to the show. There's the link. It's in the chat. God did it.